Hey guys, in this video we're going to be checking out another micro drone here from a new company called GoFLY, and this is the Falcon 90. 90 millimeters motor to motor. Got some pretty typical stuff on here: 1104 7500 kV motors with these 5-bladed props. These are Sunny Sky motors, I believe. It's not labeled Sunny Sky, but I'm pretty sure they're definitely Sunny Sky motors. The frame itself here is really beefy, and it's a bit on the heavy side. I think this is 2.5 millimeter carbon here. I'm going to measure that. No, it's actually about 3 millimeters of carbon. So for something of this small size, it's definitely going to take a lot of abuse. It's probably not going to break. I mean, it's got some cutouts here to save some weight, but 3 millimeters you know, on a sub 100, very unlikely to break. You have to hit it. You have to hit something pretty hard. You're definitely going to be breaking these prop guards for sure if you hit anything hard. And I'll fly with the prop guards on, and then I'm going to take them off and then put these little motor guards on instead. They provide those so that you can use the same screws with those motor guards. And those motor guards should then also protect the motors, because the frame does not extend past the motor can, so the motor can will get a little bit of protection from those motor guards, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, this thing's a tank. It's kind of heavy. It comes with a XT30 connector here, and I'm not so sure about these props if they're 1.9 inches or 2 inches, but I'm probably going to be flying this on 3S. I don't think it's going to fly so great on 2S. It just feels so heavy. You got some really thick side plates here. So the electronics in here are very well protected. I think you got to take a couple of these screws off here and here to get inside the back here. So you can lift that up, and then you'll be able to see a video transmitter and then a camera. They're actually separate. I don't believe this comes with a receiver though. So I'll actually get in there, and I'm going to have to put a receiver in there anyway. I'm going to put in one of my FlySky receivers. You got a flight control board here. I think it's an Omnibus F3, but it's not a standard 20 by 20 size. You got a couple of LEDs here in the back. There's the USB port. So it looks like you got a 4-in-1 ESC here. I think it's 10 amps, but also not your standard 20 by 20. He's got these like mount holes here. It's an unusual size, and then it mates with the flight control board on some pins over here. So yeah, it's kind of things are going in a little different direction here. You don't have standard parts for replacing these if they break, but like I said, this thing's a tank, and probably pretty unlikely that it's going to break. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pop this open here, and then we'll take a look inside. Okay, so in order to install your receiver, you're going to have to pop the top off here. There's going to be a screw here that screws into the side, this back plate here, and there's a hinge on the back here. So you're just going to pop this off. There's actually another screw on this side, and then you can see this is the video transmitter antenna. You got a buzzer back here. There is a small button right there for changing your bands and channels, and you're going to want to solder on the receiver here on the flight controller. It's you got ground, 5 volts, 3.3 volts, and signal, and I think that's UART3 according to the manual. So there's in the manual, it's actually pretty detailed. Covers the video transmitter and the ESCs, and the ESCs are actually 20 amp ESCs, and it has a BEC of 5 volts and 1 amp. The flight control board is, as you can see here, kind of proprietary, but it does use the Omnibus F3 target and comes with Betaflight 316 on there. Okay, so I have my FlySky receiver soldered in here on those pads, and it's kind of hidden behind here, but barely fits. Soldered the signal, power, and ground, and then they even provide a small hole in the back here behind underneath the VTX antenna hole for your receiver antennas. So it just fits in very nicely and makes for a nice clean look. Okay, I'm just going to show you some of the settings I put in here. This comes with Betaflight 310. It's kind of an older version, but it is the Omnibus F3 target. You have a serial RX set up on UART3. It comes out of the box with multi-shot enabled. I'm going to fly with multi-shot. It shouldn't really matter too much between that and D-shot, but I'm going to fly it stock. No flashing, no fancy settings changes here. I'm just going to fly it like it is out of the box. The only thing I changed here is I changed it from Spectrum to iBus because I'm using my FlySky receiver and my Turnigy Evolution. And turned on air mode. I turned off SD card. I lowered my VBAT min cell voltage to 2.8. I've been doing that on all the micros now. Supposedly that fixes the flip of death. I don't know. That's what I'm doing for this one. These are my failsafe settings. I didn't change anything here except for the guard time and the throttle set to hold. Here are the PIDs. I didn't touch the PIDs at all. This is pretty much stock settings, so I'm just going to leave it alone. I should be able to fly fine on these. And then you want to make sure that your receiver is moving the channels in the correct order. The channel map was defaulted to TAER and my radio is AETR, so I switched that around. So just double check that on yours. I don't think it had any modes except for beeper, which was incorrect. And so I just switched my modes around for my radio, the way I have my radio set up. So you have to change your modes to match your radio. I have switch arming on auxiliary 1, and I'm going to put angle mode on auxiliary 2. And then I have my beeper set on auxiliary 4 for my radio. And under OSD, I think the only thing I removed was flight mode, and there was some stuff, horizon bars on the screen. I just turned those off, but I'm leaving everything else alone, and that's all I'm changing on this. I'm going to fly pretty much out of the box like this. Pretty noisy for a 2-inch prop. I never liked these 5-inch or these 5-bladed 2-inch props. I'm running on 3S. It's a 350 from the SBC Maker 95 GT. Not bad on considering the weight. It's over 80 grams with the prop guards. And I think with the battery, it's a small battery, so the flight time is going to be kind of short. Seems to fly okay on stock PIDs and rates. Nothing special, just an old version of Betaflight, but still works okay. Obviously, we'll see more in the FPV feed later. It looks pretty smooth in the air. A little hard to tell orientation. It's all black. Some flips. So I think you're going to have to go 3S on this setup. I think the motors will be able to handle it. If you go 2S, it's going to be a little too heavy. I think it'll still fly, but you're going to need to be more on the throttle. Ooh. Okay, so right away I can tell there's a lot of jello in the video, and probably because one, the camera is like directly mounted to the side carbon plates, which are directly mounted to the main plate. So I'm thinking the props are probably unbalanced, which doesn't surprise me because those props are terrible. And those vibrations from the props are going into the motors, into the bottom plate, and then obviously into the camera. So it might be fixable with some better props that are balanced, maybe soft mounting the motors, for example. Not much you can do about remounting the camera. The camera is mounted via 4 screws into the side plates, and that's how it's held into place. So unfortunately, it's probably not much you can do there, but maybe swapping out some props and putting in some soft mounts might get rid of the jello. In terms of the flight characteristics, I'd say they're okay. I mean, they're not terrible. It is kind of slow, even on 3S. So if you're getting this because you want a rocket ship, this is not it. I would recommend getting something else if you want a rocket ship. This is probably more for someone who is going to crash a lot and doesn't want to break it, because if you're flying like me over like a soccer field, grass like this, you crash this multiple times, you're just going to be breaking props. I wouldn't even bother putting the prop guards on. They're just going to break right away at some point. And it's a good trainer, if you're just learning to fly, because it'll take a lot of abuse, because this thing's got a really thick bottom plate and the electronics are very well protected. So I would just stick them, take the prop guards off and stick the motor guards on, and you should be good. You're gonna need some good 3S batteries though. I wouldn't recommend flying this on 2S. Anyway, guys, that's my recommendation on this particular model. Let me know if you guys have any questions, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.